What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Dummy Wormy. I'm coming at you with another video. When it comes to PlayStation and things that go on PlayStation, not a whole lot of success over there. Let's be honest here. It is kind of a shocker from time to time. When you see successes such as Astrobot, and I know I don't have a picture of Astrobot pulled up, but I mean, Astrobot was a game that came out, simple platforming game, was made over in Japan, came to America via the PlayStation, and came to the world via the PlayStation, honestly. It gave a brand new mascot to the PlayStation, and it was honestly a success. It did really well. It did fundamentally was just a fun game. People really liked it. Had a bunch of different avatar skins that you could put on your little bot. It was a simple enough game. You put out a good game, you're gonna get a good product. So it's kind of weird seeing, this very successful Japanese game that was teamed up with PlayStation, and you see a former PlayStation CEO come out and say things like this. Former PlayStation CEO shares a bleak perspective of Japanese gaming. And when you actually see what he had to say, it's kind of insane. By the way, this is the same guy that famously told everybody that if you don't like Ghost of Yotei, don't buy it. If you don't like what you're seeing, don't buy it. So there's that. But he says this in a recent interview with IGN Japan, was asked for his insight regarding the current state of the industry alongside some events during the tenure at Sony. Most notably, he gave his opinion on Sony's Japan studio being merged with Team Asobi. It was a sad event, but not necessarily a surprise. Alan was a great guy, and he was trying really hard, but the legacy was too big. It's hard when a studio doesn't have a hit for a while, and the employees forget what it feels like. And then you start to forget how to make a work a success. In such a case, I think there are two possible paths. One is the path that they actually took. The other is the path of taking very strict and drastic measures out of love. This may be what happened with Team Asobi. It's like pruning the branches of a bonsai tree. You cut the branches back close to the trunk and then watch them regrow. And ultimately, what he was trying to say was he doesn't think the current state of the Japanese gaming industry is actually very good. He was giving warnings of the Japanese gaming industry and was coming out here and actually saying oh, looks like there's gonna be bad times coming to the industry. It looks like it's gonna kind of be falling apart. And you can see in some of his other mentionings what he was saying. Linden goes on to criticize Japanese studios for trying to reach global audiences, saying that they have not been successful for a long time, and even applauds Square Enix for abandoning its ambition to expand development overseas. Now, I can agree with him on that. I can agree with him. Don't try to hit that global audience. Try to hit your audience. Try to actually make good games. Quit with this global audience nonsense. But the thing is, Beck thought that what happened here was a bad idea. And what he thought what happened here with, games like Astrobot was a bad move because it wasn't going to help him out. And he's betting all this money on this big idea that the Japanese gaming industry is going to be falling apart. Even though just recently we had something come out that kind of disproved his whole point. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I mean, this is a Japanese game that has just exceeded expectations, is doing really well. People are really loving this game. Yes, it's been out now for more than a few weeks, and it's crushing it. So it's weird to see you come out here and, say that, considering we've had such a massive success here. And if we actually come over here to what Savvy had to say here, Madam Savvy, shout out to her. She actually says something pretty interesting, shall we? I wish this man was in front of me so I can call him to his face what a fuckwit he is. Japanese games and anime are being censored and influenced by the West. This man was part of the problem. Now Sony and their own corporate reports put out how they will use their IP to push DEI agenda. They said it not once, not twice, but thrice throughout their 70-page report. The USA land of the free to spread your ass, but draw the wrong thing and you get canceled and called problematic. has been a thorn in Japan's creativity. The globalization of fiction is a degradation of creativity. This concern over offending a mere fraction of a percent of not even 10% of the global population online is asinine behavior. You know what games are successful, the ones sticking true to themselves and delivering a good product void of modern day pandering and exclusion. If Sony deleted their American offices, all American employees, and deleted HR, they'd have a return to success and innovation. But they're too busy selling more parts off to Blackstone because not even their hardware and software is enough anymore. What a joke. And I agree with her. And to actually back up what she's saying here and back up the fact that Americans are the ones that do the censoring, we can just return over here to this story that came out not but a few weeks ago. Dragon Quest III HD2D remake creator claims American regulation for Square Enix to remove male and female gender options and altered character designs. Or we also have 8+ years of politicized English localization in games and anime. Now I know this is more on the localization side, but let's be real fair here, guys. This is being implemented all across the board. This is being implemented in other factors of the company and is actually getting pushed by Japanese industries and Japanese industry standards. And I forgot to pull this up. And again, a lot of these videos that I make are always off the top of my head, but this actually is also reminded me of another story that came out from Japan not too long ago when we were talking about these localizations and these localization standards. And I'll bring us back over here to Japan Times. We don't hit women, how Yakuza differs from Grand Theft Auto. This article here was just the entire time where the Yakuza creators were talking about how they were sending their game over to the Western localizers, their Western censorship bars, the Western individuals that were going to come in here and say what you can and can't do within the game. And we're coming out here decrying and saying, you know what, we were changing this stuff up because it's insensitive to the West. It's insensitive. And one of the things they couldn't show were women in sexy outfits. They weren't allowed to make what was considered homophobic jokes. They weren't even allowed to have people dressed in black leather or black outfits because it resembled too much of German people from World War II. They censored so much of this game because of what Western standards dictate, because of what Western standards were telling you. This is not okay. So your Japanese gaming market is doing just fine when you actually put out a game based for the Japanese gaming market, but when you put out games that are more designed for the global audience and are, censored due to Western standards and things like that, they start doing less well. They actually start hindering their productivity, and gamers start saying, hey, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, because it's not the actual game they ever wanted. If they wanted Western games, they'd be playing Western games. If the Japanese gaming industry just focuses in on making games for the Japanese audience, which then means that other countries' audiences will come by and actually play said game, things would be just fine. But it's always funny. It's always funny to see former PlayStation employees and former PlayStation CEOs come out here and say things like this when they were part of the reasons this all happened, when they were part of the problem to begin with, and they were some of the people that helped implement these standards and help put the Japanese gaming industry in the situation that it's in. I agree with him when it comes to what Square Enix is doing and focusing in on a Japanese audience first. I agree with that sentiment. I agree with that belief system. But I don't believe you believe in that, and I fundamentally think that you want the Japanese gaming industry to fail because of what you brought into the industry itself. But I'm going to leave it there. Let me get you guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video go live, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.